We'd like to welcome you to BeMoreNews.com, the news before the news, where we uncover the truth. In this, my 30th year as a journalist, it is truly an honor and a pleasure to be in Washington, D.C. at the very fine office of April Ryan, a Baltimore icon who has shown me the ropes. She put her foot in my hind parts once or twice.
Oh my goodness.
Only for the sake of perfection and the perfection she strives for. The author of 4 books, including...
And the last one, that's it right there. Black Women Will Save the World, an Anthem. Doesn't that color of the wall match the book cover?
It does.
Yeah. And if you notice over there, I have one of my Morgan State University plaques. That's the one, Distinguished Achievement at Morgan State University.
Where did it all start?
And that's my service to the White House Correspondent Association. I was on the board when President Obama was president of the United States for 3 years. I was, at that time, one of only 3 blacks to ever be on that board in 100 years.
Where did it all start?
In Baltimore.
V103?
No, it started at WEBB under Dorothy. But no, actually before then it started at WEAA FM, Morgan State University, then WEBB.
Because they shout you out at WEAA.
WEAA FM, yes. They do? Oh, that's nice. That's my heart.
We just celebrated Mr. Mfume and the 1977 establishment of that station. You are a part of Baltimore history. And Dorothy Brunson, I mean, let me tell you, do you know what you taught me about the White House?
What?
You insisted that I know about Ethel Payne.
And Alice Dunnigan.
And Alice Dunnigan.
And that briefing room podium is now named after them, the first 2 black women to cover this White House. And now here I stand, 27 years in, the longest serving black female journalist to ever cover the White House. And today was kind of my off day. I was filming for The Hill. I'm not dressed to go into the White House. I'm in my office. But no, going into that space, that auspicious space, going into that surreal space for so many. A space where every day I walk in and I look and see a place where slaves built, a place where presidents led not just this country, but the world. And 4 at least have called me by my real name. One of them we know has called me a name or 2. But
I want to go to that. I never saw you fight. You fought and you fought.
I don't fight.
Oh, you buried him.
I did not bury him.
You buried him, and you raised our people to rise to the occasion. I mean, from East Baltimore to Southeast D.C., they were shouting your name.
Oh, well, I'm a Northwest Baltimore girl, Baltimore County girl, Northwest, Northeast, and Baltimore County girl. And
what high school?
Seton High School, not Seton Keogh. Seton, when it was on Charles Street.
Did you have to wear the little plaid skirts?
Yes, I did. Those maroon plaid skirts. During the winter on the bus stops, my knees would get so cold.
Did you foresee...
And I had leg warmers. Remember when leg warmers were out? I remember wearing those, yeah.
Did you foresee yourself working at the White House?
Never. I wanted to be in broadcasting. Never imagined I would be in the White House. My mother, before she died, she said, my late mother, Mary Vivian Ryan, or Vivian Ryan as people know her, she said, I knew you'd be in Washington, but I never thought the White House. Eyes have not seen and ears have not heard, and I've still got a lot more years to go.
What message would you give to young journalists?
Ooh, this is a trying time in the industry. So many companies are laying people off. If you love this, be prepared to take a lot of knocks. It's a whole different day. Politicians are coming after us, discrediting us. Focus on the facts and understand it's not about you, it's about the story. And getting it out, because people need information. People need to know what impacts their lives. And we are at a time in a climate where every right, every liberty that Black people have had has been rolled back or eroded. And we're back in position like we were in the 1960s in a lot of instances. They're trying to take D&I away. It was, the Supreme Court ruling was for education, and they've tried to make it into corporate America. Just basically, with all that said, and we're voting without the full protections of the Voting Rights Act. With all of that said, we are now in a time called post-affirmative action, a time that I never thought I'd ever see again. So when we go into this business, not only learn mainstream American issues, but also know issues of Black America, Jewish America, everything that you can absorb. So when you get in that room, you will be a force to be reckoned with. And you can ask those questions knowledgeably to get a knowledgeable answer, and to report knowledgeably to people who are in need of your information and your own unique ability to put some texture to a story.
Did you ever foresee abortion being rescinded?
Ooh, I never, honestly, in my history books, I thought when a law was a law, it was always going to be a law. And I've learned that you can actually lose an election and still be the winner, You can have the popular vote, but as long as if you don't have the Electoral College, you won't be president. So many things that our history books taught us have upended in reality, right? So the vast majority of Americans, to include Republicans and both Republicans and Democrats, want to have options on the table just in case. And it's so interesting to see people rise up from these opposing parties saying, my option is taken off the table. And to hear the upset and the fear of how far this could go.
Who inspires you?
Who inspires me?
This is Black History Month. When you think of where we are today and your role and whom you have to pass the ball to, and you have mentored, I've seen you mentor a lot of people over the years.
Who inspires me? My late mother still inspires me, my mother and father. My mother gave me the knowledge to know that I could do anything I wanted to. My father gave me the courage. Carter G. Woodson, he is my new superhero.
Father of Black History Week.
That turned into Black History Month. But it's not just because he's about Black History Week or Black History Month. Carter G. Woodson wrote the book,
Miseducation?
The Miseducation of the Negro. That is now my new favorite book. This
Why?
Education thing that we talk about, how they're banning all these books, this is not new. They have never educated us. But it's incumbent upon us to be educated about who we are, who we were. And reading that book, I said, this is not new. I said, but it empowers me more to know more, to understand more, to understand that I grew up in a city. Some of the reason why I have a fight is because I grew up in a city that was the first city to redline and created all this segregation in communities.
Roland Park, 1910.
Yes. So, that's what I'm saying. And then understanding my city is one of the cities has a highway to nowhere. How they've broken up Black communities to build these interstates and things. We need to understand what has been done to us to break us, to break our neighborhood, to call it a hood, to break the family. To break everything. We are a resilient people. And I'm not just talking about Baltimore. I'm just talking about us in general. And that's why I'm saying, I love reading those old words, because what was yesterday is still today. New face, new name. But what was yesterday is still today.
I got to ask you this question. Right. It's not something we've talked a lot about over the years, but you know it as well as I do. Mass incarceration.
Let me tell you something. Mass incarceration, it's a numbers game. It's a money game. The privatization of jails. People make money off of mass incarceration. When they were talking about, we're going to reform, we have prison reform. What about sentencing reform? They won't deal with that because it goes to the pockets of the rich. You need a certain number of people in there in the prisons so that they can have these contracts for bedding, linen, food, etc. I'm not saying that there are people who don't need rehabilitation, but I believe that along with whatever is done, there needs to be more of a holistic approach. And just throwing someone in a penal facility so other people can make money and they're just playing basketball, doing whatever, It's not going to change a person. I believe people fall through the cracks, and I believe there needs to be grace, but there also needs to be punishment. But I don't believe the current system works.
What do you want Baltimore to know?
I love you, and I thank you for making me who I am, for being my backbone, for loving me up. Baltimore, Charm City, the city that reads or believe, whatever you want to call it, it's my home, and I love my city. I am Baltimore. That's one thing couple things people know about me. I attended Morgan State. I'm from Baltimore, and they know my children. And they know I'm married now, so.
Congratulations. I saw it. One last thing. I have a new granddaughter. She was born around the time of year you were a Vonnie, little Virgo. Any advice for little girls?
For little girls.
For our little girls. For little black girls.
Keep hoping and dreaming. Once you lose your dream, you lose your hope, and you lose your push and will to be better and do better.
Did you ever feel like you couldn't make it?
Yeah, many times. But look at where I am now. And Bishop Walter Scott Thomas said this, and I'm going to end on this. He said, April, he said, Baltimore is a place, there's no other place like it in the world where the word failure is built into our very existence. And to be able to survive and thrive coming out of that, if I can do it, anyone can do it. I wasn't born with a silver spoon, and I went through public schools and Catholic schools, and I made it. And a lot of kids on my street were playing after the street light came on. I went in when the street light came on. I was laughed at.
There were rules.
There were rules, right. Follow the rules. I'm trying to instill that in my kids. Follow the rules and see what happens.
My mother started flipping that porch light. You better come in the house. That's going to be a problem. Thank you. Thank you, April Ryan. Where can people find your work? Where can people follow you?
They can find our candles. My husband and I have a candle line, jarecandles.com. It's on Amazon, too.
How you spell that?
JARE candles.com. And you can find me on...
What's JS stand for? Where you get that from?
James April Ryan Ewing.
Okay. Got you. Okay.
And great candle line. And you can find me on Instagram. I'm leaving X. But you can find me on Instagram and Facebook.
Okay. Thank you very much. And happy Black History Month.
You too.
Let me see that ring. Oh.
No.
The satellite TV with that joint. Keep watching BeMoreNews.com, the news before the news, where we uncover the truth.